Join us on this week's Towncast Pembroke Dock, where we'll discuss all the usual news and events, plus the sports results. And I'll be asking the question, when was the last time you visited the local library? When you went, did you go to the gallery? Did you buy anything? You know where that one's going. Let's get on with the show.
Be strong.
Hello and welcome back to this week's Pembroke Dock Towncast with me, Lee G. Pleasure to be here. I had kind of planned of having summer off and then coming back September time. But news and events kind of overtook me through this week, so I'll do a little bit of that in the news. But yeah, hello again. So yeah, let's quickly just discuss why I'm back. So you may have seen in the news this week that there was some English flags painted on the rocks at Stackpole Quay. So yeah, that was my photos. So I kind of back into stuff a little bit ahead of schedule. So I thought, hey, while I'm here, let's do a Pembroke Dock Towncast because I haven't done one of those for a while. If you are sitting there and going, oh, I could do this better, please do come and join me because having more of us together as a group kind of gives me more of a reason to make sure I do record. So the plan from September onwards is to record on a Sunday, publish on a Monday, so you can kind of put that as your key thing. Having said that, I know the first weekend in September I'm away in Radio 2 in the park. So I will do my best to record it before I go. Okay. Let's have a look at some of the news in Pembroke Dock this week. And I'll be honest, it's been a bit light on the ground. I've seen the progress still being made up on the Cleddau Bridge, but that is starting to really come together now. That's looking fantastic. I'm hearing rumours of new companies relocating to the dock to make the most of Freeport and to make the most of the offshore wind and things like that, and the what's the word? The underwater stuff, the uh, demonstration zone, and all of that. So yeah, anything like that, any news like that, I love to shout about it. I'd love to go, hey, this is great. This is what's happening on that. Events coming up. So it's bank holiday weekend. It's bank holiday weekend, and it's always my bugbear in Pembroke Dock that we don't have more going on in Pembroke Dock. We really, really should have. I know there's a cricket event going on today. We'll come to cricket scores at the end. That's a charge it in, but it'll be too late by the time I put this out tomorrow. A couple of things that are going on through the week. Martle Twice show on the Kira Airfield on Wednesday. It's £10 entry, £5 for under 14s, free for under fives. So that's always a nice day out. There is a country fair at Milton Manor on the road out of town. So that's that's bank holiday Monday from midday onwards. That's always worth I think little events like that are what kind of makes the place. They're all you'll find something and you'll go, this is just fantastic. We should have more of these. So do go and support your local events on that. And one quick shout out to Brewery and in Colchester who have started stocking, and I think this might be a temporary one, but it's a Tiny Rebel beer. I think it's Club Tropicana that they're going to stock. But if you're heading anywhere or you fancy going anywhere, that's the place to go. Kosh Brewery, get someone to drive you. If you've never drunk Tiny Rebel before, they do. They're a Welsh company. They're based in Newport. If you've been to the rugby or the football, you come out of Gate 3, the Millennium Stadium, big red brick building opposite you. That's Tiny Rebel, and they do like exotic beers like pineapple and lemon, and I had one with coconut and lime, I think it was. I'm not a fan of. I'm all for giving them a go. I found one or two which are acceptable to a more traditional palate, but yeah, it's well worth going if you fancy trying new beers. If you're one of those guys that kind of or girls that kind of likes the new funky beers and all of that kind of stuff, well worth giving that one a bash on that. Okay, right. So, if you would like to join us, I say, drop me a line. I love towncast@gmail.com. If events is your thing, if the news is your thing, if the sport is your thing, if you just want to come on and have a chat about some stuff going on in the town, by all means, give me a shout. I love towncast@gmail.com and let me know. I would love to have you on the show. Okay. While you're there, why don't you give us a like on social media? We don't have a Twitter page at the minute because just got too much to organize, in all honesty. As many of you know, if you've been in before, I run pages for rugby podcasts all over the world. Yeah, so I could do with somebody else. If you want to come on board and do that, that would be grand on that. Okay, let's discuss the library. So for those of you that maybe haven't heard or whatever, within the town library, so I'm gonna make an assumption that we all know where the town library is, okay? But some people will not have visited that library. You know, they just well, it's just not on their thing. I'm going to tell you why it's important that we do. Okay, so that library was built crikey, late 80s, I guess, late 80s, early 90s. I was still living down that part of town at the time. Um I was we were really annoyed at the time, really, really annoyed because in the summer we used to play football on what we used to call the town green, which is a little patch of green just next to the library. And in winter we would play it on what used to be the big car park. So it used to be a co-op in that top area where what's now the Asda used to be a co-op, used to be top corner. Anyway, so in winter it was great because they had floodlights. We could play football on the car park up until God knows what time. It was great. It's fantastic. And then they went and built the library on. So we were a little bit annoyed. And then we started going to the library, and then you just think, okay, well, this is good. Um, and yeah, it's been. I've had 3 kids. I'm nearly 50 now, so I remember that place being built. All 3 of my kids are massive readers. You know, Christmas is a big stash of books, birthdays, big stash of books. Um, Summer, if we're going away, there'll be at least 2 books needed to go away. My house is just full of books. And that started very early because we went to that library. So that library's got a lot of fond memories for me. I used to do revision in there after school. If it was raining, I'd have a couple of friends and we'd meet in what I think is now the research room. We were doing a massive amount, but we were doing revision, you know. So that library is a part of Pembroke Dock, and in my opinion, my humble opinion, underused. I think more of us should be making use of that, and I include myself in that. I haven't been in there for a long, long time. Um, I have excuses. I'm just too busy. This, that, and the other. But you know, reality is we should be using it more. We should be, and I think that is the issue. That is the problem. Where if we all put our hand on our heart, we'll go, well, when was the last time we were in there? There will be some of us that use it very, very regularly. It's a social place. It's a place of learning. It's a place where you can go. it's a place where you can go and enjoy the quiet. If you've ever so there's so much noise going on in people's lives at the minute, so much stuff that's just kind of bombarding you left, right, center. To go in a place where you know that being quiet is a requirement, um, is actually good. It allows you to be still. You pick up a book, you just focus on that book. You'll have a little bit of a read of it. You might stay for 15, 20 minutes just reading that book and go, okay, yeah, I'm going to take this home. Um, so yeah, it's a really great place to go that should be used more. Now, the issue is that on your way into the library, before you get to the library, there's a little area on the left-hand side that has always been the gallery. It's always been an art gallery. Um, and there's been various kind of exhibitions in there, mainly local artists. It is a local artist kind of a thing. Um, so that area now has been identified as a income generator by the council and will be leased out as a cafe. Okay, so and there has been a bit of a an uproar on social media. Now I've got to say on this, for me, that I can totally see why. I can totally see why you would lease that because you know we're in a boat where money is tight. And if there is an opportunity to increase business, so giving an opportunity to a local business to run a cafe and make some money out of it, I'm all in favor of that. Um, and if having the income from the lease of that cafe keeps that library open, then yeah, I am all in favour of keeping the library up. I think we've got to be realistic around where we cannot demand to not have our taxes in line with costs. So we're not going to increase taxes by X amount because we can't afford it. Okay, but then the council can't afford to keep everything open the way it was before. Um, and I think that it's a difficult thing to do, and this comes around every year. Every year the council come around and there will be, there are council buildings that they're trying to sell off to generate income. Um, that would benefit us, but ultimately, the anything that helps to keep that library open to me has got to be a good thing. Would another cafe in town be a benefit? I think it would. I think it would. I think the cafe that's opposite that used to be the bakery. Yeah, is nice and quite small. I think they still make their own stuff in there. That used to be the building to the left of it that I think is Brum's storage area. That used to be its own bakery. It used to be they used to make their own bread. I used to walk to school past it, and you could smell the bread coming out of the oven, and it was lovely. It was really, really nice. But so I'm not sure that that happens on that level anymore. Um, if I'm wrong, please do tell me. As I don't know if it does. So that's now a cafe. Would that be impacted? It's one of those things where when you put a bunch of cafes together, it becomes the cafe area, so more people visit, not less. Um, and you actually see an increase in footfall, not a decrease. Now, does that work straight away if there's one or two? It's hard to say. Genuinely is hard to say. What I can say is that, you know, it encourages competition, and that's got to be good. There may be different things going into there that don't compete with the cafes nearby. But to me, the priority is to keep the library open. That I think that has to be the priority for me. Um, One way or another, like I say, my kids started their reading habit at that library. I'm from a very, very young age, before they could walk. Um, we'd be in there. You know how expensive books. If you're a parent, you know how expensive books can be. So going to a place where books are free and you've got hundreds and hundreds of different books, um, and you can test your kids out and you can go, okay, right, they like this one. They like stories about giant mangoes. They like stories about space. They like stories about elephants. They like stories by this author. They like stories with these pictures. Um, and all of that's free. You get to test and see what your kids like for free. That is just gold dust for a parent. So instead of having to buy 100 books where they only read four, you can go and test out 100 books, find out the 10 that they like, and not have to buy the other 90. And then you can go, okay, yes. So they really like Julia Donaldson. Mouse took a stroll through the deep dark woods. Um, you can go in and buy a couple and have them there as your backup. But yeah, my kids used to love it. Every Friday afternoon, we'd finish school on a Friday afternoon, we'd get a cake on the way home, and then we'd go to the library and choose some books for the weekend. And it became our thing. So yeah, for me, we need more of the library, not less of it. So if there is a way where you go in and you get a book and you get to sit there with a coffee and a cake while you're reading your book. I mean, that is what 90% of libraries do now. You go to um most big coffee shops will have a little reading section as well, because it's good for business. So to me, it's a price worth paying. Um, are there other opportunities in the town for a gallery? I think there probably are, but I think also, you know, we can we can do things differently in terms of, how we work together as businesses and as residents to promote local art. I think local art is really, really important. I genuinely do. Um, but are there we need to look at how we do galleries differently, and how we can integrate that maybe more into the town centre, maybe empty shops. Maybe we can use empty shops, and maybe that's a way around it. Maybe there's something that we can do in the Pater Hall. You know, to me, art galleries do not pay their own way, um, in most places. The art galleries that pay their own way are the high end ones that sell in £1 million art, and everything's on commission. And so when you're talking about dealing with small local art, then yeah, you could still have that around the walls. You could still have that around the walls in that cafe. You could integrate the two. So, is there any reason why we couldn't look at a solution where, you could have a gallery and a cafe? It might need to be a little bit different on what have you, but I just think that there are solutions available that we can, have the best of both worlds. But yeah, for me, bottom line is that we need to keep that library open for as many hours as we can, because it's important. It really is important to everyone in the town. Um, and it's a big bonus to have that in the town, and we should be looking after it and nurturing it. So, okay, I am going to put some sports results up. Okay, so we are at that strange point in the season where cricket is kind of coming to an end or has come to an end. Football is just kind of getting going, and rugby is still in pre-season. So as you can see there are no fixtures coming up in Division One. So I'm just going to have a little looky at the last couple of weeks. This was the fixture that we were looking at and saying how big this was going to be a couple of weeks ago. So Kiru beat Cresselli a couple of weeks ago, and that really was the key point in the season. Peru have been racking up batting points left, right, and centre, bowling people out, having a bit of fun. That was the key game. If you look at the last week, so they 278 for eight, and then they bowled Nailing out for 153. Cresselli 308 for six, and then bowled Herbernston out for 118. Really did get tasty at the end of the season. So, top of the table, this is how Division One finished. So Kiru on top, 323 points, Cresselli, 330. Interestingly, Loreni, when we looked at this through mid-season, Loreni have lost 7 games. And there was a point where they were mid-table, and we were like, are they going to do anything? To finish third, albeit quite a distance away from the top two, but to finish third has been superb. I think, yeah, last game of the season, Loreni and Saunders foot, and that's the one where those two flipped there as well. So, yeah, well done, boys, on that one. Into Division Two. Here we go with Division Two. So, this is how the table finished in Division Two. Um, our good neighbours, Pembroke, finished fourth in that table. So Cresselli seconds, finished fourth from bottom. Kiru seconds, finished second from bottom. Now, I don't know how many teams go up and how many go down in this. Is it one or is it two? Usually two. We should be ashamed to see Kiru seconds go down, but that's life. So, yeah, just have a quick look at results from last week. So Cresselli seconds lost to Burton. Um, d- 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 there we go. Kiru seconds on the bottom here. Yeah. So they played Nye. I see Narberth Nye on top of the table. So Narberth would have been gunning for it as well. So yeah, unfortunate for Kiru, but there we go on that one. Division Three, then. This is how the table finished. So fair play to our boy. I mean, if you look at the social media, if you've been following the social media for the Dock cricket this year, it has been superb. And it's a large part, the two things kind of go hand in hand, where people will get involved, they'll support you. You do have that kind of, your shoulders are a bit stronger, the eye is a bit sharper when you're playing. So to win that league, and to win it by nearly 30 points, 28 points, is a fairly hefty victory on that. So also a couple of mentions further down. We've got Lamphy, we've got Hundleton, we've got Stackpole in there as well. But yeah, fair play to the boys. 321 points. So if you look at this now, okay, we're in Division Three. We're going to go up to Division Two. Wouldn't you like to see the opening game of next season, Pembroke Dock at home against Pembroke? I mean, wouldn't that be a belting fixture to see? Anyway, I can't remember the last time the Dock and Pembroke were in the same league. I have a feeling it was Division Three a couple of years ago. Pembroke came down and then went back up. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how that one plays itself out going forward from there. Okay, into Division Four. We are looking at Loreni seconds, finishing mid-table, Kiru thirds, kind of mid-table there as well. A bit of a meh season, to be honest. Let's be fair. Pembroke seconds run away with that. at the end of the season. They had a very, very strong end to the season. Their firsts couldn't match it, but their seconds absolutely did. So seconds are going to go up to Division Three. Um, yeah, really well done on that, boys. Really well done. Okay, Division Five. I mean, we were hoping for so much from Division Five. We were really, really hoping for so much, and it just tailed off at the end of the season. If you look at the last couple of results, um, where seconds lost to Haverfordwest, all out for 71, and then Cresselly, all out for 20 the week before. You know, August has been a bit of a nightmare for the seconds on that. So, I think, yeah, there we go. Last time we won a game, 26th of July. Okay. So, yeah, bit of a shame, but they finish in third. I'm like, to only you look at Herbertson top of the table, they only lost 3 games, and we lost 3 games in August. That's how badly we finished that season. So it's a real shame, but there's a lot of encouragement there to go forward. I think with a little bit more quality and depth to finish the season, that could have been an absolutely outstanding season where both firsts and seconds could have gone up. But onwards and upwards to next year, and all the best for that, gents. Cresselly thirds, you can see a couple of places below as well. Hundleton a little bit below that as well. And then Division 6, we've got Cresselly. Still haven't worked out what's happening in Division 6. Yes, we got Cresselly in there. So now, if you've never used this site before, allworldsport.co.uk, the really good thing with this is we've got all of the bits across the top there. So let's say rugby hasn't started yet. Football, we just had the first round of Pembrokeshire League fixtures. Okay, so we're going to have a little look through now. I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't done much prep on this. So just going to look at results from the first week because I can't remember who's in what division. So there you can see Swifts and Carew drew 1-1. In the middle there, Penna Robbins took a bit of a pasting against Hakin on the first day of the season. No point looking at the table on there. So fixtures coming up for this weekend. So this is a bank holiday, this is a Tuesday fixture, that is. So Swift at St Ishmael's and Penna Robbins host Merlin's Bridge. Carew travel to Fishguard Sports on that. So already, we're 26th, 27th. It's all starting to get really confusing. But yeah, that's the way it tends to go. Division 2 then. In Division 2, results from the first week. Carew Reserves lost 4-0 away in Hakin. I think that's it. And but yeah, that doesn't concern us. Their fixtures for this weekend. I say it's all a little bit disjointed at the start of the season. Carew Reserves playing Solver away on the 27th. And then the 28th. No, so when anyway, yeah, let's not worry about that. Let's go into Division 3. There we go, Pembroke Borough. That's what I was looking for. So Pembroke Borough drew 0-0 with Clarkston Road, first weekend of the season. Penna Robbins seconds beat Letterston. So that's a decent start to the season. Loreni lost 5-1 away in Tebby seconds. So 26th, the Borough are playing Camrose Reserves at home. And on the 27th, the Robbins seconds travel to Haverfordwest for an evening game there. Loreni are away in Pendine. That's a weird one, that is. Weird pitch, Pendine. Okay, let's have a look in Division. Division was it 3? Yeah, Division 4. Division 4. Who we got in Division 4? I say, you have to forgive me, I haven't done any prep on this. So we've got Hundleton and Angle Angle beat Hundleton 5-3 first week of the season. I think that's it for us in there. This is an interesting one. St. Florence and Manorbier. Wasn't aware of St. Florence even had a team up until this weekend. So fixtures for this weekend then. So the 28th will be Hundleton will travel to St. Ishmael's. There we go. Angle will travel to Johnston Seconds on the 29th. Down the bottom there. Lovely. Division 5. Results so far in Division 5. So Lorraine Reserves down the bottom there lost to Haverfordwest Cricket Club Reserves. Pembroke Borough Reserves, a nice little win there over New Hedges and Saundersfoot. I think that's it. And fixtures coming up. Pembroke Borough playing. I thought they just played them. Pembroke Borough Reserves against New Hedges and Saundersfoot. Pembroke Borough against New. So I think there may be a little bit of a mistype there because everyone's played that already. Pembroke Borough Reserves 3rd of September away in Herbernston there as well. Okay. So plenty coming up. So football season just starting to get going. Rugby season, we're still a couple of weeks away from first week of the season, but I will be putting those into the podcast. If you fancy coming on board and doing the rugby, doing the socials, doing the news, doing the events, promoting businesses in the town, do give me a shout because I really want to get more people involved going forward. So we will be recording on a Sunday going forward. If you want to be a part of it, drop me a line. ilovetowncast@gmail.com. It would be great to get more people involved on that. So just going to go back to very briefly the bit I said about flags at the start. The painting of the flags on the cliffs at Stackpole Quay, which is where I kind of started up again a little bit earlier than anticipated. So, Pembroke Dock is a proud town that is built on immigration. Pembroke, I think I've done a bit before where Pembroke Dock went from 5,000 to 10. They basically doubled in size in the space of one census gap. Okay, and we have long welcomed people from all around the world into our town, and they've become part of the town. Many of the families that we know are Irish descent. There are loads of people with Irish descent that I know of. There are people with Scottish descent that have come from, Aberdeen because of the oil refineries and what have you. There are people that have come from Poland, from Romania, from African countries. Every single one of them is welcome in our town. And if we allow people to tell us that we don't like each other, then quite honestly, we get what we deserve. If people want to go and ruin our areas of natural beauty and try to stoke division in our towns, then those people get what they deserve. Because we as residents of the town need to understand that we're all in this together. This isn't about where you're from or what you've done. This is about where you are and where you want to go. And if you're in Pembroke Dock, then you're part of our community, and everyone in Pembroke Dock should be looking out for each other and doing what they can to help and support everybody else in Pembroke Dock. And when somebody comes from outside and chooses to visit our town and somebody chooses to live in our town, then well done them, because they've made a good decision to come to our town. So with that in mind, I shall love you and leave you. I shall be back again next week. And in between now and then, I hope you have a fantastic week. Thanks very much. Goodbye. Get strong. Get strong.